Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take all sorts of articles, research our own notes, and basically boil it all down to what you really need to know. And today, wow, we are diving into something that affects, well, pretty much everyone, often without us even noticing. We're talking about the hidden dangers, lurking in the sugar we eat every day, that little bit in your coffee, maybe, or the sweetness you don't even taste in savory stuff. Added sugars are, frankly, everywhere. So, our mission today is simple. Give you the shortcut, get you totally up to speed on this really critical health topic. We got some surprising facts, maybe a little humor, definitely insights that go beyond just the headlines. We want to arm you.
Yeah, we're going to take you on a bit of a journey here. First, we'll clear up the difference between natural sugars and added sugars, fundamental. Then we'll look at the honestly stark difference between what health experts recommend and what most people actually consume. And after that, we get into the nitty-gritty, sugar-specific links to a whole range of chronic diseases and your overall well-being. Some connections might really surprise you.
I'm genuinely excited to get into this with you. Peel back the layers,
No.
We won't just focus on the problems, though. We'll offer practical, real strategies for living a healthier life, maybe a little less sweet. Remember, this deep dive is all about you, for your understanding. Okay, so let's kick this off. We need to make this really crucial distinction first. Natural versus added sugar. What exactly do we mean by those terms?
Right. So natural sugars, these are the ones you find naturally in whole foods. Think fruits, vegetables, dairy products like milk and yogurt. The key thing is these sugars come packaged with other good stuff, fiber, vitamins, minerals. That whole package, especially the fiber, means your body digests them more slowly. So you don't get those crazy blood sugar spikes. It's more like sustained energy. Plus, that fiber helps you feel full, right? So it helps regulate your appetite.
Okay, that makes sense. Slow and steady with nutrients. So how does that compare to added sugars?
Right.
That sounds less wholesome.
Oh yeah. Added sugars are just what they sound like, sweeteners and syrups put into foods and drinks, usually during processing or when you're preparing them. We all know the obvious ones: high fructose corn syrup, sucrose, dextrose, plain old corn syrup.
Just stuff in sodas, candy, cakes.
Exactly. The obvious culprits. But the sneaky part is where else they hide. They're often lurking in things like bread, lots of yogurts, even the ones that seem healthy, ketchup, salad dressings.
Salad dressing.
Yeah, and these are often described as empty calories, meaning they give you energy, calories, but basically none of the good stuff. No fiber, no essential nutrients, no beneficial compounds. And because they're just pure sugar, they hit your system fast. You get that quick blood sugar surge.
Followed by the crash.
Exactly,
Oh.
crash. And over time, this pattern directly contributes to weight gain and a significantly increased risk of chronic diseases.
Okay, so one comes with the benefits, the other, not so much. And maybe some harm.
Pretty much. And what's really fascinating and frankly quite alarming is just how much added sugar people are actually eating. It's a huge public health challenge because it's so far beyond what's recommended.
Yeah, I saw a stat from the CDC, I think it was 2024. The average American consumes something like 22 teaspoons of added sugar daily.
22 teaspoons.
It's staggering when you think about it visually, like a little mountain of sugar every day.
It really is. And let's put that into context with what the experts say. The American Heart Association, the AHA, they have clear guidelines. They recommend women have no more than 6 teaspoons. That's about 24 grams of added sugar per day.
Okay, 6 for women.
And for men, it's a bit more, but still not much. No more than 9 teaspoons or 36 grams.
9 for men. Got it. So 6 and 9 teaspoons compared to 22 on average.
Exactly. And think about this. One single 12-ounce can of regular soda, that typically has around 10 teaspoons, maybe 40 grams of added sugar.
Wow. So one soda blows the whole day's recommendation for women and nearly hits it for men.
Precisely. Just one drink. And it's not just the US. The UK's National Health Service, the NHS, they have similar advice. They talk about free sugars, which includes added sugars, plus the sugars in honey, syrups, and even unsweetened fruit juices. They say that should be no more than 5% of your daily calories. For most adults, that works out to about 30 grams, which is roughly 7 teaspoons. So very similar ballpark.
Okay, so whether it's the AHA or the NHS, the message is clear. We're eating way, way too much added sugar compared to these health guidelines. That gap is huge. It really shows how much this stuff has infiltrated our food supply, and it highlights why we need better education, healthier options, so you can actually make informed choices for yourself. All right, so we've established the difference and the scale of the problem. Let's shift to one of the most, visible consequences, weight gain. Sugar's contribution to weight gain and obesity seems pretty direct, especially those sugary drinks we just talked about. How does that work exactly?
Yeah, it's like a sweet trap, as you said. Liquid sugar is particularly problematic. Our bodies are just not very good at registering calories when they come in liquid form.
What do you mean by registering?
Well, you could drink a 200-calorie soda really quickly and not feel particularly full, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But eating 200 calories of, say, broccoli or chicken would likely make you feel much more satisfied.
Well,
So when you drink sugary drinks, you often don't compensate by eating less later. Your brain just doesn't get the same "I'm full" signals.
okay. So the calories sneak in without triggering fullness cues.
Exactly. And these are empty calories, remember. So they add up really fast. It pushes you past your daily energy needs, and your body's response is to store that excess energy as fat. And there's more to it, especially with certain types of sugar, like fructose. Fructose is a big component of high fructose corn syrup and table sugar. Unlike glucose, which your body can use pretty widely, fructose is mainly processed by your liver.
Okay, the liver does the heavy lifting for fructose.
Right. And when you consume too much fructose, the liver gets overwhelmed. Its response is to convert that excess fructose directly into fat. That process has a name: lipogenesis.
Lipogenesis, fat creation.
Literally fat creation, yeah.
Okay.
And this doesn't just add to overall body fat. It can specifically lead to fat building up in the liver, causing non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD, which is a whole other serious health issue we'll probably touch on again. It's a precursor to worse things.
Wow. So it's not just calories in, calories out. The type of sugar and how it's processed really matters. And okay, here's something that really gets me. I've read that sugar can actually mess with your appetite hormones, like make you want to eat more.
Yes, absolutely. This is a crucial part of the cycle. High fructose intake in particular can interfere with appetite regulation. It can contribute to something called leptin resistance.
Yeah, that's the hormone that tells you you're full, right?
Exactly. Leptin is supposed to signal to your brain, okay, we've had enough energy, you can stop eating now. But with leptin resistance, it's like the brain's volume knob for that signal gets turned down. The signal is sent, but the brain doesn't hear it properly.
So you keep feeling hungry, even if you've technically eaten enough?
Precisely. It makes it much harder to recognize fullness. This creates this really vicious cycle. You feel hungrier, you eat more, possibly more sugary things because you crave quick energy, and the problem gets worse.
Man, that sounds like a setup for failure if you're trying to manage your weight.
It really can be. And the impact isn't trivial. There's a study mentioned by WebMD looking ahead to 2025 data, projecting that drinking just one soda consistently every day for 3 years could lead to an average weight gain of around 15 pounds.
15 pounds just from one soda a day.
Yep. It shows how those seemingly small daily habits with added sugar can have a really profound cumulative effect on your weight. Okay, so weight gain is obviously a big one, but the impact of sugar goes much deeper, doesn't it? Let's talk about heart health.
Yes, absolutely. Beyond weight gain, a high sugar intake poses a really severe threat to your cardiovascular system, and this is often underestimated. It directly contributes to heart disease risk, even if you're not overweight.
That's a really important point. It's not just about weight. So what's happening inside? What are the direct ways sugar harms the heart?
Well, there are several key mechanisms. First, it can increase your blood pressure. Excess sugar intake is linked to higher blood pressure readings, a major risk factor for heart attacks and strokes. There's research, Harvard mentioned some in 2022, showing sugar can actually damage the lining of your blood vessels and the endothelium.
Damage the lining? How?
It makes the blood vessels less flexible, less elastic. Stiffer vessels mean higher pressure, hypertension.
Okay, so higher blood pressure, what else? Chronic inflammation. Sugar is pro-inflammatory. Yeah. It promotes this low-grade systemic inflammation throughout your body. And inflammation is a key driver of atherosclerosis.
Atherosclerosis, it's the hardening of the arteries, right? Plaque buildup.
Exactly, hardening and narrowing of the arteries. Inflamed arteries are much more likely to develop plaque, and that's the root cause of most heart attacks and strokes.
Got it. Blood pressure, inflammation. Anything else?
Yes, it messes with your cholesterol levels too. We call it dyslipidemia. High sugar diets tend to lead to higher levels of the bad LDL cholesterol and triglycerides.
Triglycerides are fats in the blood, right?
Yes, fats in the blood. And at the same time, it often lowers the levels of the good HDL cholesterol. That combination, high LDL, high triglycerides, low HDL, is a recipe for increased cardiovascular risk.
Okay, so it's hitting blood pressure, inflammation, and cholesterol. That's a triple whammy.
And there's one more connection we already touched on, that fatty liver disease, NAFLD. Remember how excess fructose drives fat into the liver? Well, NAFLD itself is now increasingly recognized as a strong independent risk factor for heart disease. The liver and heart health are closely linked.
Wow, it really is all connected.
It is, and look, the statistics are quite stark. Studies show that people who get between 17% and 21% of their daily calories from added sugar, they have a 38% higher risk of dying from heart disease compared to those who keep it under 8%.
38% higher risk, that's significant.
Hugely significant. So if we connect this to the bigger picture for your heart health, it's crystal clear. Sugar isn't just about empty calories or weight, it's a direct threat to your heart.
Okay, that's sobering. And of course, we can't talk about sugar without talking about diabetes, type 2 diabetes. This link feels almost common knowledge now, but maybe we should unpack how sugar contributes. It's not like sugar directly causes it, right?
That's a good way to put it. It's not like a virus causing a disease. But sugar plays a massive role in creating the conditions for type 2 diabetes, primarily through insulin resistance and driving weight gain.
Okay, so walk us through that. How does a high sugar diet lead down that path?
All right, so when you consistently eat a lot of added sugar, especially from things like sugary drinks, you're basically flooding your bloodstream with glucose. Your pancreas responds by pumping out insulin. Insulin's job is to help get that glucose out of your blood and into your cells for energy.
Okay, the pancreas works harder.
Right, it works overtime.
Yeah.
But if this happens constantly, day after day, your body's cells can start to become less responsive to insulin's signal. It's like they start ignoring the knock at the door. This is insulin resistance.
So the sugar stays in the blood because the cells aren't taking it up properly.
Exactly. Blood sugar levels stay high. The pancreas then tries even harder, pumping out even more insulin to try and overcome this resistance. You get this vicious cycle. High blood sugar, high insulin, increasing resistance. Eventually, the insulin-producing cells in the pancreas can just get worn out. They can't keep up with the demand.
They burn out, essentially.
Yeah, they can start to fail. And that's when blood sugar levels really rise and stay high, leading to a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes.
And there's a very strong link specifically with sugary drinks again, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. Regular consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages is consistently linked to a significantly higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes.
But is there any good news here? If someone's heading down that path, can things be turned around?
Yes, absolutely. That's the crucial message. Metabolic health can be significantly improved with lifestyle changes. Even modest weight loss, we're talking just 10 to 15 pounds for many people, can dramatically improve insulin sensitivity. It helps your body use insulin better, helps regulate blood sugar. For many people at high risk, these changes can actually prevent or significantly delay the onset of type 2 diabetes.
So there's real power in making changes. That raises an important question for you, the listener. What small changes could you make starting today to help your body manage sugar better?
Right. And related to both weight and diabetes risk, we need to revisit the liver.
Yeah.
We mentioned NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. The burden sugar puts on the liver, especially fructose, is immense.
Let's dig into that a bit more. How does that damage actually happen? What's the process?
Okay, so it starts with that fructose overload. Remember, the liver does almost all the work processing fructose. When you drink that big soda or eat lots of processed foods high in fructose, the liver just gets slammed.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah. It can't immediately use all that fructose for energy. So, to cope, it starts converting the excess fructose into fat triglycerides. That's lipogenesis again. This newly made fat then starts to accumulate inside the liver cells themselves. When enough fat builds up, that's NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
And you said this is common now.
Incredibly common. It's now the most common liver disease worldwide, and it's often directly linked to diets high in sugar and refined carbs, not just alcohol.
Okay, so fat builds up. Is that the end of the story, or can it get worse?
Unfortunately, it can get much worse. If NAFLD isn't addressed, it can progress to something called non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, or NASH.
NASH, what's the difference?
Steatohepatitis means there's not just fat, but also inflammation and actual liver cell damage happening.
Yeah.
This inflammation and damage can then lead to fibrosis.
Fibrosis, like scarring.
It's exactly like scarring. Think of it like scar tissue forming inside your liver. If that scarring becomes severe and widespread, it leads to cirrhosis, which is irreversible liver damage. And cirrhosis significantly increases the risk of liver failure and liver cancer.
Wow, that's a really scary progression, all starting from potentially too much sugar.
It is. And that inflammation isn't just confined to the liver. As we mentioned with heart disease, high sugar intake promotes low-grade systemic inflammation throughout the body. It triggers the production of inflammatory messengers. This chronic inflammation is like a silent fire, smoldering in the background, increasing the risk for all sorts of chronic conditions. Heart disease, stroke, certain cancers, even autoimmune disorders are linked to chronic inflammation.
And it also contributes to those bad cholesterol levels, the dyslipidemia.
Yes, it circles back again. That unhealthy lipid profile, high LDL, high triglycerides, low HDL, is partly driven by the inflammation in the liver's response to excess sugar, further fueling atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries. It's all interconnected.
Okay, so the internal damage is extensive, but sugar also takes a toll on things we can see, right? Our teeth and our skin.
Absolutely. The external effects are pretty significant too. Let's start with dental health. This is probably the most well-known effect of sugar. We all learned it as kids. Sugar causes cavities.
Right. How does that actually happen?
Well, you have bacteria living in your mouth naturally. Certain types of these bacteria just love to feed on sugar. When they consume sugar, their waste product is acid. This acid attacks the hard enamel on the outside of your teeth. Over time, this acid erosion wears away the enamel, creating weak spots and eventually cavities or holes in your teeth.
So the bacteria eat sugar and produce tooth-destroying acid.
Pretty much. And high sugar intake doesn't just cause cavities, it can also contribute to gum disease, like gingivitis, which is inflamed gums, and periodontitis, which is more severe gum disease that can damage the bone supporting your teeth.
Okay, so bad for teeth, bad for gums. What about skin? That seems less obvious.
Yeah, the skin connection is fascinating and becoming much better understood. There are a couple of main ways sugar impacts skin health. First, acne. High sugar diets cause rapid spikes in your blood sugar and consequently insulin levels.
That insulin spike again?
Yep, that surge triggers hormonal responses in your body. These hormones can increase the production of oil, or sebum, in your skin. Excess sebum, combined with inflammation, which sugar also promotes, are key factors in the development of acne breakouts.
Ah, so sugar can literally fuel acne from the inside out.
It seems so.
Yeah.
And then there's the aging effect. This involves a process called glycation.
Glycation sounds technical.
It is a bit, but the concept is important. Glycation happens when excess sugar molecules in your bloodstream attach themselves to proteins. They form these harmful new molecules called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs for short.
AGEs, advanced glycation end products, okay. Why are they bad?
Because they damage the proteins they attach to. And two of the key proteins for youthful skin are collagen and elastin.
Collagen and elastin, they give skin its firmness and bounce, right?
Exactly. Collagen provides structure and firmness. Elastin provides elasticity. When AGs damage collagen and elastin, these proteins become stiff, brittle, and less effective. The result is accelerated skin aging. Think more wrinkles, sagging, loss of elasticity, and just a generally duller complexion.
So too much sugar can literally make your skin age faster by damaging its support structure.
That's the takeaway. Reducing sugar could genuinely be a sweet step, as you put it earlier, towards clearer, healthier, and yes, more youthful-looking skin for you.
That's definitely a motivator. Okay, we've covered the body, the teeth, the skin. What about the brain? Mental health, mood, energy.
Ah, yes, this is a huge area. The effects of sugar on mental well-being, mood, and energy levels are profound, though sometimes harder to pinpoint directly. That immediate pleasure or rush from sugar can mask a much more negative underlying impact.
Let's break that down. You hear about sugar cravings being like an addiction. Is there truth to that?
There's definitely a biological basis for it. When you eat sugar, it triggers the release of dopamine in your brain's reward centers.
Dopamine, the feel-good chemical.
Exactly. It reinforces the behavior, making you want to do it again. This creates a cycle of craving, consumption, reward, and then craving again, which operates very similarly to how addictive substances work. It can really undermine your attempts to control your diet.
So it hijacks your brain's reward system? What about mood itself? Depression, anxiety?
There's a strong and growing link observed between diets high in sugar and refined carbs and an increased risk of depression and anxiety. While the exact mechanisms are still being researched, part of it likely relates to those blood sugar fluctuations we keep mentioning. The constant ups and downs of the sugar roller coaster can lead to mood swings, irritability, feeling anxious, and just general malaise.
Yeah, that feeling after a sugar binge. It's not great. And it leads to energy crashes too, right? Not sustained energy?
Absolutely not sustained energy. You get that initial quick boost because your blood glucose spikes rapidly. But your body then releases a surge of insulin to deal with it, which often overshoots, causing your blood sugar to plummet.
The crash.
The crash. And that leaves you feeling tired, foggy, unable to concentrate. Chronically relying on sugar for energy just leads to chronic fatigue and reduced cognitive function.
And does it affect sleep as well?
It certainly can. Consuming a lot of sugar, especially later in the day or close to bedtime, can interfere with your sleep quality. It might make it harder to fall asleep or stay asleep. And poor sleep, as we know, just makes everything worse the next day. Mood, energy levels, and it often increases cravings for, you guessed it, more sugar.
It really is a vicious cycle, isn't it, affecting mind and body?
It truly is. Understanding these mental, energetic effects is so important. Breaking free from that cycle isn't just about physical health. It can lead to much greater emotional stability, more consistent energy through the day, better focus, and improved sleep. It really impacts your overall quality of life.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty comprehensive picture of how sugar impacts, well, pretty much everything. The big question now for everyone listening is, what can you actually do about it? How can we reduce this stuff in a practical way? Let's shift gears and get into some real sustainable tips.
Absolutely. And the good news is small changes can make a big difference. Probably the single most impactful first step for many people is to rethink your drinks. We've talked about sugary sodas a lot, but also sweetened fruit juices, sports drinks, energy drinks, sweetened coffees, and teas.
Even 100% fruit juice can be a lot of sugar without fiber.
Exactly. While it's natural sugar, it hits your system fast without the fiber of the whole fruit. So the easiest swap is to prioritize water. Plain water, sparkling water, maybe with a squeeze of lemon or lime, unsweetened tea, black coffee. Just cutting out those liquid sugar calories is huge.
That feels achievable. Ditch the sugary drinks. What's next?
Become a label detective. Seriously, added sugars hide everywhere. Get in the habit of reading the nutrition facts panel and the ingredient list on packaged foods.
What should people look for on the ingredient list? Sugar isn't always called sugar.
No, it has many aliases. Look for words like sucrose, glucose, fructose, maltose, dextrose, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, evaporated cane juice, agave nectar, honey, molasses, basically anything ending in O's and syrups or nectars. Also, check where sugar appears on the list. Ingredients are listed by weight, so the higher up sugar is, the more of it there is in the product.
Okay, read labels, look for those O's, words, and syrups. Good tip. What about snacks?
Yeah, snacks are a common sugar trap. Swap out the typical sugary snacks, cookies, candies, granola bars, many are loaded with sugar, sweetened yogurts, replace them with whole food options, things like fresh fruit. Yes, it has sugar, but also fiber and nutrients. A handful of nuts or seeds, plain yogurt, you can add your own fruit, veggie sticks with hummus, a hard-boiled egg. These provide sustained energy and nutrients, not just a sugar hit.
So whole food snacks instead of processed sugary ones. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything else?
One more strategy is gradual reduction. Your taste buds are adaptable. If you're used to very sweet things, like adding 2 spoons of sugar to your coffee, try cutting back slowly.
Yeah.
Maybe go down to 1.5 spoons for a week or two, then 1 spoon, then maybe half. Do the same in recipes. Just gradually decrease the amount of sweetener you add. Over time, your palate adjusts. Things you used to love might start to taste too sweet, and you'll appreciate more subtle flavors.
That's encouraging. Your tastes can actually change.
They really can. It's about retraining your palate gently.
So rethink drinks, read labels, choose whole snacks, and reduce sweetness gradually. Those seem like really solid, actionable steps you can take. Adopting these kinds of mindful habits, even just starting with 1 or 2, can really move the needle towards a healthier relationship with sugar and unlock all those benefits we've talked about. Wow, what a journey through the world of sugar this has been. We've seen how it impacts everything, our organs like the heart and liver, our weight, our energy, our mood, even how our skin looks. It's pretty pervasive. But the key takeaway, I think, is that knowledge is power. Understanding this gives you the agency to make different choices, to break free from that hidden grip.
Absolutely. And maybe if we connect this to the bigger picture one last time, here's a thought to leave you with. Given how widespread sugar is, how deeply it affects us from our cells to our mood, what does it really mean for you to reclaim control over your food choices? It's not just about managing physical health risks, is it? Perhaps it's also about reclaiming a kind of freedom, a clearer mind, a more stable sense of well-being. What does that control truly signify for you?
That's a powerful question to ponder. Reclaiming control for overall freedom and well-being, we really encourage you to think about that and continue exploring. Thank you so much for diving deep with us today.